And welcome back to the show, Susan Stageman. She's a host here. She is the a NLP practitioner and teacher. She has NLP Training Concepts.com. I always add the .com so you can find her. And she's going to today be talking about, I've learned a lot from her myself, and I've attended her classes. She's going to be talking about money, wealth in your mind, how you think about it, and how this can really inhibit you. So I'm going to pass this over to her because anytime she speaks, people need to listen. So welcome back to the show, Susan.
Thank you, Kathy. Is this close enough? Do I have to do?
Yeah,
there we go. Okay, very good. So what do you believe about money?
Well, I think about it. I saw all those questions that you did, and I know I have some changing to do.
Yeah. You know,
it's tainted enough of it, yeah.
As a master practitioner and certified trainer of neurolinguistic programming, NLP is about, how our minds are programmed by our experiences and parents and that sort of thing. So what I want to talk about today, because I have this classes coming up in September about how to change unconscious or limiting money beliefs. And, a lot of times people just think, if I just do enough affirmations, or what was the one that you said? What was it?
Do the dream board. Put
the dream board. Yeah. Okay.
Put write that check for $100,000 or $1 million.
Right. Or go around sniffing money. Yeah. That's always really popular. Instead of cocaine, sniff money. Yeah. So, but our ability to make wealth, earn wealth, make money has a lot to do with our beliefs, how much we make it, and people don't realize it's just not about how much, it's how we make it, what we're going to do in order to make it. So do we have infinite abundance, or is there a struggle every month to make ends meet? And if it's a struggle, sometimes it's easy and fun to make. Remember that book that Do What You Love and the Money Will Follow? Right. Well, guess what? How many people out there doing what they love, but they're not making any money? See, that has to do with a belief. That doesn't have to do with doing what they love. So people will quit their job and start doing things that they really, really love, and then wonder why they're still not making any money.
Say, this is supposed to work. I read it in a book.
That's right.
Yeah, but don't they have to just put some, practice? I mean, put something down on paper and figure out how to put that together? Don't they have some execution to do with that?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, there's plans, strategies, outcomes, goals, business strategies, all of those are good. Yeah. Business plans, all of those are at the surface, but at the deep level of our thinking, our beliefs, and if they are not aligned with where we want to go, we won't go there. So some of the things that beliefs are, they're conclusions. We make meaning of every experience that we have, and we have enough meaning in a certain category, then guess what? We start to make a generalization. Those generalizations we start to take as true and accurate, even if they're not. And what's really interesting about beliefs is that even in the face of evidence to the contrary of a limiting belief, people will fight for their belief. Absolutely fight for their belief instead of being open to changing it. So they certainly govern what we do, our behaviors and our feelings and our attitudes. They govern our earning potential. They govern our financial choices and even our spending patterns. So the core beliefs that we have, beliefs are like grapes on a vine, and that stem that holds the bunch up onto the vine is called a core, and that core are so deeply impressed into our unconscious that we even have backup programs, though, that when we go to change them, they go, oops, nope, we're not going to do it. And some of the backup programs include guilt, blame, excuses, and so-called rational thinking. That's how we keep our beliefs in place. So if we want to start attracting and having more money, we have to have smart money beliefs. But even if you have a few smart money beliefs, guess what? They'll be overridden by some of the negative ones that we have.
Yeah, because when they're kids, they grow up thinking that they can't do this. So, I mean, because our environment or whatever reinforces that, don't you think that that's
Absolutely.
What happens?
Yes. The interesting thing about money beliefs is that they come later. we form beliefs about health, wealth, deserve, levels, how happy we are, do we get what we want? Those types of things are more at our core, and then the money gets laid over it. So by the time we're adults, I had that, my own personal experience was I grew up in affluence, and then by the time I'm 35, I'm going, why am I not living the American dream? That's what launched me into NLP to begin with, is I had an idea of what my life was going to be. Yeah, that's exactly it. I wanted to know how come I wasn't there along with everybody else. I went to one of the wealthiest high schools in the country, especially in the Midwest. Some of my friends came from extremely old, wealthy families, and it just didn't. Didn't click, and I wanted to know why, because I grew up in affluence, and then when I became an adult, I could not reproduce that, and that's one of the reasons that I got into NLP. So here's some of the questionnaires. So if you have at least 3 of these that you go, then probably you have some limiting beliefs about wealth, and that we probably need to work on changing them. Just remember that you just can't think them. They're not affirmations. You've got to have the new belief deeply impressed into the subconscious for them to take hold. So here's a real popular one. Money is the root of all evil.
See, now that one I could say no.
So that's what most people believe. Yeah, they feel guilty because, if I want money to make my life better, then I'm a bad person.
That's exactly it. And it's really, that came out of the Bible, and it's so misquoted. It's the love of money. It's taken completely out of context, and then they dropped off the love of and just said money is the root of all evil, when that is not true.
Well, actually, yeah, and the Jews, that's one of the things, they were called the money changers, because it was actually thought of as horrible to handle money.
Right, that it was dirty.
Yeah.
Yeah. How many of you had parents who say, don't put that in your mouth because money is dirty? Well, a child, they have no filters to that. They get money is dirty, and that just gets transferred into all kinds of thoughts about money. So here's another one. People with money use it to have power over those with less.
There's a lot of people that have that idea.
Yeah. If I get more than somebody else, then they obviously have less. I've heard this attitude where people, if they make a lot of money, that means that somebody else is going to have less money. There's a finite amount of money in the world, and there's this balance of money.
Okay.
So if I get more, then somebody else has less.
Okay, so kind of the idea of the rising ships. Wait a minute, the rising tide lift all boats, but there's some people that go, only the boats that are over in that section.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Only the big boats.
The water's got to come from somewhere.
Right, exactly. To have a lot of money, I must work very hard and sacrifice much.
I think I can say yes.
A lot of people in our country have that, and one of the things that my students experience, here's an example. I have a young man, he's almost 40 now, I guess to me that's young, and he started with this money clinic and then took all the other programs, and he started out making $35,000 a year. Today, it's a year later, he's making $100,000 a year and more than, and working about half the time.
Yeah, because he believes that he now is worth that.
Right. And that was some of the things that he changed in NLP, because most people will take years to go from 35 to 100,000. So there's a lot of other factors, but it has a lot to do with what goes on between the head. So it's not good to want wealth. I should be humble and not want rewards for my effort. Okay. Truly intelligent, talented, and spiritual people are above money.
Well, okay, so I don't need a house, and I don't need a car, and I don't need food, and I don't
need... Even monks...
I don't need clothes, okay, so...
Well, even Buddhist monks are supported by the village.
Probably not.
Right, exactly.
Live in a nudist colony.
Yeah. Exactly. Freeze.
If I have a lot of money, I shouldn't act like it. I should not spend it conspicuously or too freely.
Oh, I know a lot of people that think like that.
Yeah.
It's important to sock it away because you never know. A time will come when there won't be enough.
My dad thinks that way.
that comes right out of the Depression era, where people didn't have. I mean, it did go away, and my parents were kids when that happened.
That was pretty devastating.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, a lot of people that went through that. It's just,
Yeah. So let's see. I find myself envying others who have nice houses, clothes, and cars.
Thank gosh I don't do that.
I often use money as a means of measuring my success.
A lot of people do that.
Mm-hmm. And I enjoy buying things that others would like to have. It makes me feel good.
Well, yes. No, not like that. Yeah.
Let's see. It makes me uncomfortable to think that somebody else might envy what I have.
Oh,
I don't really care about.
I don't really care about that very much.
Yeah, I don't either.
Sorry,
Go on,
but,
envy.
Yeah, please.
It's okay.
I sometimes hide my purchases from others or lie about how much money I have spent.
Oh, does your husband count?
Yes.
No, but what about all these people like me who buy frugally, and I love to say how much of a bargain I got?
Yeah, I don't know about, because I'm very much the same way. I don't, but I do remember when I was married to have. I remember buying a pair of boots, and I hid them in the closet, and because he was so, like, against me spending any money. So, in fact, at one point he said, we didn't own a house because he had tax liens on him for all the years that we were married. He was paying them off. So we never were able to get a loan for a house. But he said at one time, he told somebody, Susan's wearing our house.
Well, thank
Which
God.
I probably was, but we couldn't buy one anyway, so what difference does it make? I enjoyed myself. Knowing someone else got the best of me in a financial transaction really bothers me. Failing to achieve a financial goal would make me extremely unhappy.
Well, our business is centered on that.
Yeah, that's the American business. If others did not need me to provide for them, they might not love me.
Oh, that's pretty. Yeah,
I bet you that's everybody out there.
Now, I enjoy having others depend on me.
I've known people like that.
Yeah. Spending a lot of money on myself makes me uncomfortable.
Bull.
I guess it just depends on...
It just makes my husband uncomfortable.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you, Kathy. I would rather be poor and well-loved than rich and lonely. The idea being that people who are wealthy are lonely people. I don't know. They have their own Facebook now. Did you hear about that?
Well, this is what gets me is that a lot of people look at people that have money and think their life is easy.
Oh,
and that amazes me.
What's taken away is the pressure and stress of not having money. But I know very wealthy people, extremely wealthy, old money, very, very close friends of mine. They have their own problems. It's just that money isn't one of them.
Yeah.
And the thing that I've noticed over the years, because I work with business people, and what happens is when there's not enough, people focus on not enough, which creates more not enough, and it becomes a big issue.
So you're saying turn off the TV and don't look at that media?
Exactly. And don't listen to how bad it's supposedly out there, because you have to run your own race.
Yes, and I think that we're awfulizing this economy to a great extent.
I agree. I think there's a lot of opportunity out there that we don't see, that change is the issue.
That's exactly right. In fact, I was listening to the worm farm person. A friend of mine who also does what I do out on the East Coast, she had a person who he was very dissatisfied. He got laid off, didn't know what he was going to do. He hired a coach. The coach found out that he loved fishing and he loved, doing something else. And so he decided to be a worm farmer, and now he fishes all the time and sells these worms. He made $200,000 last year.
Wow.
Selling worms.
So he's having a blast now.
He's having a blast.
So he's making more money.
And he's doing what he wants to do.
But he has a good mental attitude about it.
Yeah.
So doesn't NLP kind of get you in the framework of thinking, to do this, and you know that you can do this and that the money will come?
Part of it is, yes. NLP came out of studying what highly effective people do in learning, communication, and behavior. So it's a model. And so it's being able to adopt those models. Part of it is cleaning up